Welcome to the Republican County Candidates Primary Forum. My name is David Allen Seaton. I'm the publisher of the Arkansas City Traveler, and the Traveler, along with the Winfield Daily Courier and the Cedarville Lookout, are hosting this candidates forum for Republican primary candidates at the county level races. We also have with us tonight from the newspapers Lloyd Craig, who's the publisher of the Courier, and my dad, Dave Seaton, who's the chairman of the company and still actively involved. The Cedarville Lookout is edited by Susan Schaff. I don't think Susan's here tonight, but she's also helping with this. This event also is being done in support of both chambers, Winfield Chamber and the Arkansas City Chamber, Cowley First, and the ABCD Better Together group. And we have some representatives from those groups, if we can recognize them. Mike Morgan is with the Ark City Chamber. He's up front here. He's our timekeeper, so he's got maybe the most important job tonight, right? And let's see, we've got Jill Hunter from the Ark City Chamber. We've got, who else do we have? Diane Rosecrans, the executive director of the Winfield Chamber. We've got Donna Martin from ABCD Group. And let's see, we'd also like to introduce other county level candidates tonight who don't have primary opposition. This forum is just limited to people with primary opposition that is relevant to the primary August the 7th, which is the voting day for that. We've got, let's see, we have some county commission candidates from county commission district. What district are you guys? 2. I always forget that. Yeah. 3 and 2, right? So Gary Wilson is the incumbent Democrat in that district, and he's here tonight. Pat McDonald is running on the Republican side for that district. We've also got candidates here for the county treasurer's office. Macy DeCoutras is running on the Republican ticket, and she's there. Is Rebecca Cox here tonight? Rebecca, hi. She's running on the Democratic side. She's here tonight, too. Want to mention again that the primary is August the 7th. What's that? Oh, thanks, Chris. Bill Rowe is also here tonight. He is running as a Democrat in County Commission District 3. So whichever of these 3 guys succeeds, they're going to face off against Bill Rowe. So thanks for being here, guys. The primary is August the 7th. The registration deadline to register is Tuesday, I believe, July 17th. So that's an important date. There are bathrooms back there in the entryway. We expect this forum to take about 90 minutes or so, give or take. Am I missing anything, guys, that I need to announce? Okay. So then I would like to introduce our moderator, Greg Thompson. Greg is a city commissioner for the city of Winfield, and he is the joint chairman for the Winfield and Ark City Legislative Committee. And so I'll give it over to Greg.
We're going to introduce the candidates, or
If you could do that, yeah.
I can probably do that. Thank you. And we will, first of all, going to have a 2-minute opening remarks for each of our candidates. Then we will have questions. We're going to ask for, hang on just a second. We have some more.
I forgot something. And you guys are supposed to remind me if I forgot something and they didn't do it, so I'm going to blame it on them.
That's perfect.
Very important. We are going to take questions from the audience tonight, and these guys are going to pass out some cards, some note cards and pencils that you can write your questions on. Try to get those turned in as soon as you can so we can get them to the moderator. These questions from the audience will follow prepared questions that we've already got written out. And so throughout the evening, please fill those out and get them to Lloyd and Dave Seaton, and they'll get them to me, and I'll get them to Greg. So, okay, sorry about that, Greg.
No problem. Glad to get the housekeeping taken care of. And the main thing we want to look at is we want to make sure that we have the questions that you may have up here so we can get them answered. So we'll have those. We'll try to be combining them with the other questions we've got available, and we'll try to get those questions presented to the candidates as we can. Tonight we do have the race for the county attorney. And as I said, the format will be 2 minutes opening statements, then about 90 seconds to respond to any questions, and then each of the candidates will have 1 minute to close for the evening. So as we get closer to that. We're going to start out talking with letting the opening remarks come from our county attorney candidates, and we're going to let Chris Smith start. If you would, Chris.
Good evening. My name is Christopher Smith. I am the current county attorney. I have been your county attorney for the last 8 years, and I have been honored and I have enjoyed the privilege that you have given me to serve this community as your county attorney. As your county attorney, when I took over the office, I had certain goals in mind. One of those goals was to make sure that we eliminated the backlog of unreviewed and uncharged cases. Within the first 6 months of taking over that office, we had that backlog completely cleared. We have streamlined the case review process. I have, through my office and my dedicated team, my staff and my assistant county attorneys, we have prosecuted over 24,384 cases in these last years. That includes everything from felonies to misdemeanors to traffic to sinks, child in need of care to care and treatments. We have increased felony case filings in the last 8 years that I have been county attorney. We have increased those by over 50% from the previous administration. We increased by 18% the total number of criminal cases prosecuted in the last 10 years. I live in Winfield. My wife Jane and I have been married for 19 years. It'll be 19 years. Sorry, I fudged a little bit on that number. It'll be 19 years on the 7th of August. I would appreciate a nice anniversary present by returning as your county attorney. She has been a solid rock of support with me. I have 4 children. My son Stephen and my son-in-law Jeremiah own a business here in Cowley County. My daughter Amanda works for that business as well. My daughter Kristen is a sophomore at the high school, and my daughter Emerson is a student at Trinity Elementary. Winfield is my adopted home. I have, like I said, been here for about 20 years now. That was a little time that I was at Southwestern College as well, and I look forward to sharing some more time with you as the evening progresses.
Thank you, Chris. Next candidate for county attorney is Matt Wilson.
Thank you. My name's Matt Wilson. I was born and raised in Arkansas City. Joined the Marine Corps right after high school, and I'm married the woman of my dreams right then and there, right after graduating boot camp. I've been happily married to Michelle for 24 years. I have 2 children. Both are adults. My entire family has gone to school at Cowley College. And I have a graduate or an undergraduate in history out of Wichita State University. After I graduated college here, I came back down here and I sought and I was hired to be a deputy sheriff here in Cowley County. I was a deputy sheriff for 4 years, and one day I lipped off to an attorney and I said, "What you do doesn't look that hard to me." And that attorney looked at me and said, "If you think it's so easy, go to law school." So I went to law school, and it wasn't that easy. But while I was at law school, I worked as a police officer on the campus at Washburn University. And my last year, I entered into and participated in the law clinic, in which I received the Raymond Spring Award for trial advocacy from the Kansas Trial Lawyers Association. Since then, I've been a deputy county attorney, both here in Cowley County and in Sumner County, a associate attorney, and I have been in private practice for 4 years. This is my home. This has always been my home, and I very much want to serve the people of this county. Thank you.
Oops. We are going to be, yes. We are going to continue on. We're going to be going back and forth between the two races, asking questions this evening. So we're going to move on with our opening remarks and ask John Sybrant, who is our first candidate for the County Commission District 3. And make sure that you speak into the microphone, and you may give your opening remarks.
My name's John Sybrant. I was born and raised in Cowley County. I attended Ark City High School, Cowley College, and University of Kansas, where I received a bachelor's degree. Member of First United Presbyterian Church in Ark City. My work background, mainly sales, marketing, and human resources. I served as Director of Human Resources for Gillen Printing. I was a generalist. For those that don't know, that means you're covering hiring, training, benefits, placement, payroll. So you're, rather than one specialized area, you're doing all of those. I also, in that experience, most of my training came from SHRM, which is Society of Human Resource Management. I'm listed who's who in human resources. Probably more valuable than that training was I got an opportunity to network with a lot of the industries here in Cowley County. I have no single burning issue. My vision is basically for a more customer-oriented type government, meaning that that we work for the citizens and property owners of Cowley County, and our focus should be determining what their needs and wishes are and trying to serve those. I'm interested in serving one term and one term only, and I'm interested in doing that full time. I'm self-employed, semi-retired now, and I plan to retire in October. And so I plan on spending full time as county commissioner. I want to take this opportunity to thank everybody for being here. I mentioned I'm interested in participatory style management for government. That's not easy. If you look around, we
John,
have a lot of citizens that aren't here.
Your time's up. It's hard to read down
Okay,
there.
thank you all for being here. And also quickly, I want to congratulate all the other candidates for their willingness to serve.
Our next candidate is Carol Middleton.
I wasn't born in Cowley County. I was born in Oxford, Kansas, which is pretty close to Cowley County. I've spent early part of my life in the area, family's owned land in Cowley County since the early 60s, which pretty much is most of my life. I graduated from Udall High School, attended Cowley County, and got a associate's degree from Cowley County, attended K-State, got a master's degree in animal science from K-State. At the time I graduated, I didn't really see the opportunity that I was looking for back in this area. I ended up moving to South Dakota for about 18 years, worked on a large cattle ranch and farming operation in central South Dakota, always kind of looking back for the opportunity to come back to this area. That happened in 2003. I've been back for about 8 years. Done several different things, but kind of been thinking about trying to serve the community a little bit. Some of the things that I see is also serving the people that vote for us and pay the taxes that support our county. Being involved in agriculture, I also realize how hard it is to budget when you don't know what the bills are going to be or the income's going to be when you start the year and deal with the issues as they come along. I'd like the opportunity to serve the county, and I appreciate everybody attending. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. And our final candidate is Alan Groom.
Thank you. I'm Alan Groom, and I've had the wonderful pleasure and blessing of being your commissioner for District 3 for 3.5 years. I'm married to my wonderful wife, Tammy, for 28 years, and we have 2 great kids, Luke and Tyler, daughter-in-law of Shanna, and little baby granddaughter Bella, and a new future grandson on the way. But I own and operate Allen Groom Welding. Have been on my own for 18 years. Been doing the same thing in this community for 31 years. I was not actually going to run, and I found out that I had a tremendous amount of support in the county, and with that support I decided to file again, and that's where my change of mind came. But I feel that we, as a group of commissioners, that we've served to really the people that we serve are our main goals. And I feel that with our new administrator and the staff that we have in place now, I believe that we can do great things in Cowley County in the future. And I would greatly appreciate the support. And thank you again for attending and the support that I've had. And hope that all these questions can be answered tonight. And thank you again for attending.
All right, thank you. Again, I'd like to remind everyone to prepare questions and have them pass through so we get the questions from the audience. We have the people who will be available to pick them up, so make sure that you get the opportunity to get the questions and get them forward to us. The first question that we have is going to be addressed to the county attorney candidates. We'll start with Matt. We're going to be going back and forth a little bit. Matt, I'd like you both to answer the question. We'll ask the first of Matt. The question is, what is your preparation for serving as county attorney and the experience that you might have in trying criminal cases in a courtroom?
Well, the specific experience I have is I have tried several cases to jury, criminal cases. My first jury trial was here in Cowley County on the defense side, and I've prosecuted a handful of cases over in Sumner County as well. Additionally, as I mentioned earlier, while I was in law school, I obtained the Raymond Spring Award, which is an award awarded once a year to law students in the art of trial advocacy. I represented a woman there that was charged with over 50 counts, separate criminal counts. The other experience I have is I've been a law enforcement officer. I've been a security guard. I've handled every job under the sun, it seems. My first job out of, even while I was in high school, paid a nickel a bail. I have a pretty diverse base of experience, and I bring all that to the table here today.
Chris, question repeated? Or?
No, sir.
Okay.
Immediately following law school, I started at the Sedgwick County Public Defender's Office and spent about 3.5, almost 4 years there. My very first jury trial that I ever tried was 1 month after being sworn in as an attorney. And from that period, I tried well over 80 cases to jury as a public defender. Then I left the public defender's office because the commute to Wichita was taking a little bit of a toll on myself and on my family. And I started as an administrator here at Winfield Rest Haven, did that for a couple of years, ran for county attorney. I think my record is very clear as your county attorney. I mean, for 8 years, almost every decision that I make that is of any major consequence gets reported in the papers. You know my experience. You know that I'm not afraid to take a case to a jury trial if it needs to go to one. I will continue to push that through, and I will continue to serve the citizens of Cowley County as your county attorney. I was not a law enforcement officer. I don't claim to have that experience, and I think that gives me a little bit of an advantage because I don't think that I know everything about how to be a law enforcement officer. I rely on people like Sheriff Reed, Under Sheriff Mueller, Chief Wallace in Ark City, Chief Danny up here, Parker as well. So I look at those and I look to the people that I know that are the professionals to get the information that's going to help me do my job and do it effectively. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll direct our next question to the County Commission candidates. And we're going to start on the other end with Alan. First question is regarding the consolidated 911 services that are coming about, and ask you to talk about your feelings about a new center, where it may be located, how it may be financed, and would ask you to comment on that. 90 seconds to start.
Okay. I've actually been part of the 911 committee, and I'm not actually on the 911 committee, but the commissioners are asked to join in some of these meetings. We've had some public forums and stuff too for the people to get involved in, but the center right now is looking like it's going to be down by the new South Central Kansas Medical Center down by Ark City. It's a site that we have picked. It's kind of going slow right now, but hope that the progress keeps coming. We believe that it's something that's needed to take place in this county for some time. Consolidated dispatch between both fire departments, both police departments, the sheriff, and all of the rural fire, because of the communication issues between Winfield and Ark City. Hopefully can get a new 911 director in here to where we can continue to move forward on the issue. And I believe that we were going to try to get a sales tax in here to pay for this, not continue the jail tax, because we signed that resolution last Tuesday evening that's paid for early. So we're not continuing that tax. It'll be something that we're looking at on ways to fund this is through a sales tax, so which will be voted on by the people. So hopefully we can answer further questions on that tonight.
Thank you. Perhaps want to go ahead, Carol?
The people in the county that I've talked to, fire, EMS, law enforcement, all admit that we need something better than what we got now. On the other side of the coin, the people that I talk to that'll be paying the bill on this, they don't know that we need the Cadillac program, but we definitely need something to take care of the people that serve and protect us. The building deal, I think, has concerned some people. There's always the Ark City Winfield kind of rivalry that people have mentioned. You know, if it's closer to Ark City, then Winfield's going to be upset. But I think we definitely need something. I know there's been some confusion, especially in the north end of the county, where somebody might not know a location, get a call to Butler County, and then they got to call Butler County or something. So I know we definitely need something better as far as the communication, and I'm not the expert on what we need, but I think it's a good thing that the people get to vote on it, and probably the sales tax is the way to pay for it. Thank you.
John?
One of the challenges of county commissioners is going to be to serve the needs of all the citizens in Cowley County. And I don't know whether everyone's aware of it. It's hard enough for the candidates to keep track of the districts are such that they include part of Ark City, rural population, part of Winfield, part of Udall, and they're all split that way. So whatever district you're in, you have to make a conscious effort to represent all of the citizens, property owners of Cowley County. The location issue, the Ark City Winfield, and I call it the football helmet thing. I mean, I played sports in Ark City, and I appreciate the rivalry. But really, what we're interested in is what's the most efficient, and those things shouldn't enter into it. And we're going to have to develop that mentality. I consider those kinds of sentiments almost as bad as being a racist or something. I mean, it's silly, and we need to just look at things as what is the most efficient for Cowley County.
All right, thank you. Address our next questions back to the county attorneys. And to Chris first. Should Cowley County Attorney have an office in Ark City?
I had a feeling that question was going to come up. That's a consolidation of programs right now, and it's something that I took to the commission. I floated it as an idea. Our commissioners had asked us to look at ways to cut some funds from our budgets. And I looked at the consolidation of the office in Ark City with the office in Winfield. The commission was gracious enough to give me a rather large space in the courthouse where the old appraiser's office used to be. And I thought it was a good time to make that proposal to consolidate those two offices. It was a way to save costs to the taxpayers. And quite honestly, I ran into a buzzsaw on that. There's just no way around it to say it. It was on paper a very good idea, in theory not a good idea. Because it was not what the people wanted, I then went to the commission and asked the commission to allow me to rescind that decision. And I will tell you here tonight, I will not bring that issue back up. I see the purpose for the office in Ark City. I will tell you, my staff has fully funded that. And we are there, we are in Ark City, and we're there as long as there is a court in Ark City. My office will be there to represent and serve the people of Ark City.
Matt?
Yes.
Fair enough. We'll move to the next question for the commissioners. And one of our questions from the audience is, we're going to start this one in the middle with Carol. Where do you stand on tax incremental financing districts in our Kansas City? TIF districts.
Can you repeat that?
Where do you stand on tax increment financing? Tax increment financing is a way of economic development that talks about allowing some of the taxes that are created from the development to actually pay for some of the benefits that go to funding a district. I think that there had been a couple of items, one certainly how it had been addressed previously, and it's a little bit, one of the reasons it can be controversial, it's happened in Wichita quite a bit. They've done a lot of tax increment financing in Wichita, and the success rate has been reasonably good as far as the ability for the new development to pay for the elements that are being given to the new economic development groups. So the controversy arises in whether that makes sense to do with future funds. You're committing the city banking on some future funds coming in to help development. So.
It kind of sounds like tax abatement to me, but I'm not qualified to answer that. But I know, that's the first thing we always talk about to get somebody new to come in is tax abatement. And I don't think most of the people here that have started a business or are running a business probably are getting a tax abatement. I think we need to look at other ways to entice people to come in, maybe programs that will get our young people to return to the area, much like I would have if I could have found an opportunity to grow businesses, and that's probably not the answer to the question, but that's kind of where I'm at on tax abatements and incentives.
John?
I thought you did that very well. I really don't have a clue what we're talking about here. And that's not a bad thing. We're not going to have all the answers here. I'm kind of a stickler for process. So when something like this comes up, my step one is this something we should be involved in? And step two is, who does it affect? And the average citizen doesn't have time to be involved in all these things. So my job would be to try and figure out what the heck tax increment is and who it affects, and then get feedback from the people in Cowley County of whether they want that. I will say generally on taxes, the fair tax is one that somebody else pays. Nobody likes taxes and everybody likes services. As far as abatements and attracting industry, I am generally in support of that sort of thing, and my reasoning is that you either have fewer people paying the taxes, or if you have more people, you're paying less taxes. So to me, it generally behooves everyone if you're attracting industry that employs more people and generates more revenue.
Alan?
I truly believe in economic development. Though Cowley County and Winfield and Arkansas City, I would have to be shown that a TIF deal would be the way to handle the situation. I believe that the kind of things you're going to bring in here with a TIF would be that larger companies like a box store or something would come in, and I truly believe that we should focus more not only on getting new industry of some kind into this county, but the small entrepreneurship, the small businesses and things that built this whole nation for what it is today. That's what we need to contend to make, where every one of those small businesses in Cowley County can stand on their feet. Some way to bless those people with something that, you know, the TIF district is okay in larger communities and things like that. You have large investors that buy this property and want to invite these huge corporations in. There's alternative motives behind them, I believe. And I believe Cowley County is just, I believe that we should focus more on the smaller business and things like that. We've got Rubbermaid, our wonderful economic development team's doing great job keeping those people happy. That's what we have to do. You know, bring more people into this county, but in the same token, don't forget about the small guy, because those are the people that made this country.
Thank you. Back to the county attorney candidates, and ask Chris to address the first question. As an attorney, how do you feel about the drug court program?
My office has supported and continues to support and will continue to support the drug court program here in Cowley County. The drug court program really is, as a program, it gives positive reinforcement to individuals who may not have had positive reinforcement throughout their lives. I know some of the criticisms is, well, you're rewarding them for things that regular people do every day. Yes, but these are people who have not always had that public acclamation or that public support and encouragement to get off of the substance that they're on. The other side of that is it is an immediate negative consequence as well if they are violating the rules of the drug court. We have had, that I am aware of anyway, through my office, at least only 2 prosecutions of former drug court participants. So the recidivism rate from drug court is relatively low compared to people who are not in drug court. My office supports it, my office continues to support it, and my office will continue to support that as long as I am county attorney.
Thank you, Chris. Matt?
Well, I'll be the first to say I don't know much about the drug court program. What I do know of it, since I'm not directly involved in it, though many of my clients seem to find their way there. What I know of it, I've gleaned from conversations with the sheriff, with probation services, and with the judges. And it seems to be that since its initiation, it seems to be showing some promise. However, I think the drug court program in Cowley County is perhaps a little young to make a definitive assumption that it's going to be a viable product or viable program. I had heard when I was a deputy sheriff, and I had heard other people speak very highly of the Labette boot camp program, and they mentioned the recidivism rate and the lack thereof. Unfortunately, until I think we have a few more years under our belt, especially on the national, nationwide drug courts, more and more of them are sprouting up across the country. But until we see more definitive proof that this is a viable program, I think we ought to leave the door open to determine whether or not we want to continue it in 5 years, 2 years, 3 years, or 4. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Direct our next question to the commissioner candidates. The county has had an administrator for 8 years now. There are people who wonder what we're doing with a commissioner, with an administrator. There are some who wonder how we got along without one for so long. We'd like to get your opinion on it, and we'll let you start, John.
Well, I mentioned that my vision is and my interest is doing this one term and full time. When we went to a county administrator, there were those that were commissioners at that time that offered to take cuts in their pay or whatever to sell the idea of a county administrator. We do have a county administrator now, and I think that's a good idea to have a trained professional. I would like to see that evolve where the county administrator had a more active role, typical that you would see city manager, city commission type system. If that were the case, then it might evolve to where the pay that county commissioners are getting is not justified. And county commissioners may not want to hear that, but on the short term, I certainly would like to see the county administrator's role developed into a more active one than it is now.
We're going to change the order just a little bit and ask Carol to answer that question next.
I'm kind of like John. I think a trained professional in the office that understands budgeting and financing as well as some of the laws and regulations is probably a valuable asset to the county, unless they want to make the county commissioners a full-time job and probably have a different group of people, that are qualified to make the financial background research and follow the laws a little bit better than what the average person would know. I'm in favor of a county administrator.
Alan?
I also am very much in favor of an administrator. We have a wonderful new administrator, Jeremy Wilmoth, and he has proven himself to be a very accountable individual. Everything he's handled has been in a very professional manner. We hired him for his numbers. Background as far as accounting and stuff like that. He Tuesday night proposed a budget to us that I think everyone in this county will be very appreciative of, and we have to approve it, but we've got a lot of digging to do before that's available. But I think everyone will be impressed with Jeremy's performance. Everyone that's got to work with him, I'll go to the department heads and talk to them. I said, what do you think of Jeremy? How's he getting along? What do you think of the job he's doing? Everyone has high marks for Jeremy. He's doing an excellent job. And what I see, Jeremy, in the future, we're going to have to keep our pencil sharper. I mean, he's going to be someone to be reckoned with, because his leadership and his skills are going to show through, and I think he's a fine individual. I'm very much in support of him.
Thank you. You should always remember you can hardly go wrong with a good accountant. Just try to throw that out there. Next question would be for our county attorney candidates, and we'll start with Matt. And the question is, the county attorney's job is full-time. What kind of activities beyond the courthouse are appropriate for a county attorney?
I'm also for an administrator, but I just wanted to weigh in on that. If you're expected to be somewhere from 8 to 5, be there. What you do after 5, that's your business. And that's pretty much the nutshell of my answer. If you're working as a county attorney, deputy county attorney, sheriff's deputy, deputy sheriff, police officer, we hire folks and we want them to be there while they're supposed to be there. And I really don't have much beyond that. If you had a sheriff's deputy delivering pizza while he was supposed to be on duty, I think you'd all raise an eyebrow and scratch your head and try to figure out what it was he's doing. And I'm confident that he might not be employed for very long. And that's all I have to say on that matter. Thank you.
Chris?
The role of the county attorney is many facets. You're the public face of the office. You are the chief, sorry, sheriff, but it's been defined as the chief law enforcement officer for the county. So you wear many hats. One of those hats, of course, is being the county attorney, trying the cases that come to the office, making sure your office runs, making sure the cases are prosecuted, making sure that the citizens are represented in the court. The other side of that is a community component to the county attorney, and that involves local activities, that involves statewide activities. Part of being the county attorney, as I said, is a public face. It's to be out in the public. If my opponent thinks that you can just sit behind a desk from 8 to 5 and do nothing, you're not going to be a very effective county attorney. You've got to be able and you've got to get out in and mingle with the public. You've got to know what's going on out there. These are the people you're going to see as jurors in your courtroom. These are the people who you are going to be looking to put their confidence in you as the trial attorney. And so it is important to be out there with them. I anticipate I know what this question is about, and I hope to get to further explain my answer a little bit more.
Move on to a question for the commissioners, and start with Alan this time. Should the county reopen a driver's license tag office in Arkansas City?
I don't believe so. I believe if anybody stood in line in the unfortunate lines in the courthouse trying to get there, I was actually in there a couple times this last month, and it isn't the girls' fault by any means. The system that they're forced upon in the state was a disaster. Not saying that things couldn't be different, but that's not our job and not my job to point to people to what, well, Kathy, you need to do this or whatever. But I believe that we need to get the one we have running as efficiently as possible and get people through it. It would be a convenience for a tag office in Arkansas City, but I personally have not, the people that I see, they don't have a problem with it. Kind of the way I look at it, Winfield is a county seat, and the courthouse is in Cowley County, or in Winfield, the courthouse of Cowley County. So I believe that business should be done at the courthouse.
We'll go to John next. Change the order again.
Well, I mentioned that I'm a stickler for process, and step one is, does this pertain to us? And my immediate thought is that the expert would be the county clerk, and the issue should be what is the most efficient and cost effective. I live in Ark City. I drive up here to tag and pay taxes. Would I like one in Ark City? Certainly, it'd be more convenient. Is it going to cost me more as a taxpayer? Then maybe I'm not so interested in it. But I don't want to micromanage the county clerk, and I would think that her input should be valued a lot in that decision-making process.
Carol, we've destroyed your names tag over there, but we'll remember who you are and give you a chance to talk.
I guess I'm really not in favor of a duplicate office as far as streamlining things. I know you can renew your license plates by mail. I'm sure someday, probably soon, be able to do it online. There's been mention of allowing dealers to transfer titles and assign license plates. I don't know if that's the answer either, but I'm sure the girls in the clerk's office have a better idea about it than I do. I think once they get through the issues with the new software and some of that, it'll probably speed it up. Fortunately, my tags didn't come due in that time frame, so I didn't have to endure a long wait, but I've heard people in other counties 4 or 5 hours for one license plate, and I think that's a problem that's going to go away, so I don't really see a benefit. There's people who live a lot farther from Winfield than the 10 miles to Stark City that don't seem to have a problem getting in and getting their license plate. So if we start one in another town somewhere, they'll want one in another corner of the county because their time is just as valuable. So I guess right now I don't see it as something I'd pursue.
Okay, thank you. County attorney question for Matt. Should the county attorney be doing more to prevent domestic violence, and what about neglect and abuse of children?
Well, I would first suggest that the setting county attorney doesn't abuse his wife or any children. And I think that'll go a long way for the county attorney cutting back on that. Now, I'm being 100% facetious there, but all you can do is work with the case that's presented. In my experience, if a case is properly investigated, the evidence is there, and you can prosecute that case, you prosecute the case. If it's not there, it's that old adage of knowing and proving. We're not in the business of, the prosecutors aren't in the business of knowing. They've got to be able to prove it. They've got to be able to prove it to a jury. Each case requires absolute attention to those details, and you have to examine the evidence for each one of those. I assume that diligent enforcement of the law and diligent prosecution will result in a downward trend in those crimes. Thank you.
Chris?
Thank you, Matt. I appreciate that we will work to make sure that violence goes down. My wife will appreciate that as well. Matt's absolutely correct, and I will give him credit for that same. What we know and what we can prove are many times two different things in my office, and that's a very difficult thing to have to explain to a victim. One of the things that my office has done, and one of the areas that I worked very hard and continue to work very hard on, is the prosecution of domestic violence cases. Domestic violence stems from a control issue, and it is breaking that cycle of control. And in order to do that, we use several different tools: law enforcement to arrest, a court system to bring the person in, make them take responsibility for their actions. This is hampered sometimes by a victim. A lot of times victims want what we refer to just simply as a 24-hour divorce or a 48-hour divorce, and unfortunately that happens, and then come back on a Monday morning, they want the no contact orders lifted, they want to have contact, they want to go back to the situation. My office has worked very hard with safe homes to partner with them, with their victim coordinator, their advocates, to do everything we can to try to make sure that those victims stay safe. But ultimately, and I know this is going to sound horrible, sometimes you cannot save people from themselves. It is the choice that they make. While we try to make sure, I appreciate that, while we try to make sure that doesn't happen, we are not always successful for that, but it is a very serious issue and we take that seriously.
Thank you, Chris.
With
commissioners, and we'll start with Carol this time. What would you do to discourage the loss in population and jobs in Eastern Cowley? Yeah. What would you do to help discourage the loss in population and create additional jobs in Eastern Cowley County?
Well, John told me the way to get elected was to guarantee rain. And I think probably most of the people in Eastern Cowley County would like to see rain. I don't know that there's really a way to stop the migration of people from areas like Eastern Cowley County to the towns, you know, as farms and ranches get bigger, and the incentive for young people to come back and try to start into the farming or ranching business, in really any aspect of agriculture, is pretty difficult. I know there's some programs around kind of a mentoring or a chance for a new college student to find a family that maybe doesn't have children or doesn't have children that want to return to the farm or ranch. Things like that are what I'd like to see pursued a little bit to encourage somebody that wants to but doesn't have the wherewithal to get started. And that would probably slow down the progression of people leaving.
Alan, next.
No, I agree with Carol. There's no magic way to keep people from moving away from the county or the small and unpopulated areas in this county, unfortunately. There is a way that people that live in the county within the county that don't live out there can get involved, like with Donna with ABCDE group, get her involved with all of them, the Dexter, Burden. There's all kinds of activities, the Dexter barbecue. People can attend those things. When you see or hear of an activity in the newspaper or things, you need to attend them. You need to be active in the community. That's the only way we can save these people and not save the people, but save the smaller communities to where, and people have to take the step to step out of their box and become active, because without people taking the initiative to do things for the community, it will die, unfortunately. And we have a select few people that lead those groups, and they're very treasured. And you have to hopefully that those people are enough to keep those small groups together. But as far as a magic way to keep people here, it's going to be a battle.
Thank you, Alan. John?
I wouldn't have told you about promising rain if I knew you were going to use it. The population decline in rural America is not limited to Cowley County. I mean, it's kind of like the problems that Main Street has. It's universal, or widespread at least. And I think it's fairly easy to see that it's pretty much related to jobs. I mean, if you have kids, grandkids, whatever, you want them to have opportunities, and it's kind of how you're going to keep them down on the farm. If there are greater opportunities outside of the small communities, that's where they're going to go. So solutions to that, one is do everything you can to keep the industries you have. And we maybe do well at that, but continuous improvement. We could do better. An industry, GE, for example, Jack Welch, who is CEO, I don't know who the CEO is now, but invite him to be Grand Marshal of Arkalala or, that sort of thing. He's going to turn you down, but treat these people like royalty. You'd never know when that's going to make a difference. GE at Strother Field's a drop in the bucket to GE generally, but you never know where going the extra mile to appreciate those industries is going to make a difference. And don't turn down the opportunity for a new industry to come in here. Support them every way you can.
Thanks, John. This question is for the county attorney. We'll start with Chris. Given the budget restraints that we're under at these times, is the current county attorney's office staff too large, too small, about right? Do you see it changing?
I have all three of my commissioners here, so I have to be very careful. No. The county attorney's office, when I first started, I looked at the staffing that we had, and I requested an additional deputy county attorney. That request was denied. I made that request again 2 or 3 years later. Again, that request was denied. But I'll simply say, you can never have enough people. I mean, every person says that we need more staff, we need more resources. However, I will say, I have asked more of my staff, and they have given more over these last 8 years. I'm very proud of the people that I work with. My secretaries have done a fantastic job. My deputy county attorneys do a fantastic job. I think I do a fantastic job with the resources we have. I've been very, very blessed by the commissioners and by the citizens of Cowley County for the budget that I have. They have always made sure that I have everything that I need to make sure that my office runs effectively and we can prosecute the crimes that occur in Cowley County. One of the issues we have right now is we have an open spot for an office manager. I have not spoken to the county commission about this yet, but if I am reelected, we will be looking at whether or not to fill that spot as an office manager, or whether or not we want to look at possibly a paralegal, possibly an investigator, or a combination of that. So we have some opportunity to make some changes, and we have some room to do, and I appreciate the work that the commission has done, and the taxpayers. We are very responsible with your funds.
Thank you. Matt?
The question was too large, too small, or just right. And I want to say that the Bears will come home and, well, it's just right now until I get in there and take a look at it. And then I'll decide whether or not it's too large, too small, or just right. I don't have any hard evidence. I've got to take Chris's word that he's got the people he needs. There's an old saw that says, if you can't find a hammer, grab a rock. And if it's too small, you make do. You find what you need. And I think if it's too small, I'd bring that to the county attorney or to the county commissioners and to the administrator and explain why I need the additional personnel. Just pretty much as Chris laid out. I think right now that there's an adequate staff to handle the demand that's and the daily demands that's before the county attorney's office. So that was a long way to just right. I think that's where I started, so that's where I'll end.
Thank you, Matt. The next question will be for the commissioners. I will remind the audience once again that we will be accepting any questions that you have. If you have anything that has spurred another question in your mind, please don't hesitate to write it down and get the attention of the nice people here who are about to hand me another question. Question I have for the commissioners is, the county gives funds to nonprofit and charitable organizations. What criteria do you think should be used to decide which groups are deserving and which are not? And we're going to start this with Alan.
You know, the whole community is full of needs, and we only have so much money. And we have to be stewards of that money as commissioners. And we watch these different entities come up to us and give their budget presentations, and almost always they usually want an increase, you know, and we had to really dissect the appropriations last year for these entities that you're discussing, and we looked at each one very hard, and there were some cuts taken, and we've about dissected the appropriations as much as the three of us commissioners feel that we could. You know, they're small, you know, CASA, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, the Humane Society, everything like that dependent upon county appropriations, and we feel I think I can speak unanimous for our whole commission that we feel that we've done a very good job at that. And a magic way to do it, I don't know. We just try to look at each one and their needs and the money that we have and try to disperse it the best we can.
Carol?
I think it's like Alan said, you kind of disperse it where you think the dollars will do the most good, you know, which programs are benefiting the most people. And sometimes, you know, it's what are they doing to help support themselves if they're having fundraisers or looking for grants and stuff outside, help them out to finance the rest of what they need. Don't think there's probably any of the organizations that I see that have approached the commission for money for their programs that probably aren't worthy of some funding. And it's just a matter of how many eggs are in the basket and how many you can give to each one, and try to make them go as far as they can and keep the programs going. You hate to see programs that benefit children that maybe don't have the opportunities that a lot of us have had go without that opportunity. So try to fund them the best you can with what you have with your resources.
Thank you. John?
Well, I guess I would be a little bit of a hard sell on this. When I think of county government, I tend to think of, you know, county roads, county bridges, infrastructure sort of things. And I feel like there's kind of a mandate for that from the taxpayers of Cowley County. That being said, it's going to get worse, you know, from the top down, federal government, state government, as cuts are made, the dollars are going to get harder to come by. So having painted myself as a hard guy, am I going to turn down money for mental health and humane society? Probably not. So what's my rationale? Well, some of these functions, if those folks weren't doing it, would the county end up with it anyway? So that would be a big criteria that would come to mind in me supporting funding for nonprofit organizations.
Thank you. Question for the county attorney's office. We'll start with Matt. This one is probably a little specific, but we'll start there. If a judge's position were to open up during your term of office, would you consider running for judge and leave the office after you're elected, or aspire to other things?
That's a pretty good question. And the answer to that is I don't see myself running for a judge. If I was elected to a 4-year post for the people of Cowley County, I could win the lottery tomorrow, be elected on the 7th, and I'd stand that post for 4 years. And I guess that's the end of the answer. I don't have much more beyond that, other than I'd like to promise rain too, but that's already been done twice.
Chris?
It's a fairly specific question. I'm not going to lie and say no, because I did. And the reason I did was I looked at the judges that this county has been blessed with, and I look at judges like Judge St. Peter. I look at Judge Pringle down in Ark City, and I respected very highly Judge Smith. In fact, I consider Judge Smith one of my good friends and a mentor. And when Judge Smith announced that he was retiring, I looked at that and I thought to myself, and I talked with my family and I prayed about it. And I said, you know, I think that I have the qualifications and would make a good judge, that I would have a good judicial temperament. I'd serve the citizens of Cowley County well, and I believed that I could do that. I ran, I lost, I went back in the next day and resumed my duties as county attorney without a chip on my shoulder, and away I went. It was a learning experience for me. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that if a judgeship opened up, if a position opened up, and I thought that I was qualified for that I wouldn't try to do that. I think being a judge, especially having been a trial attorney, is kind of the penultimate step. And I still believe that I have good qualities as both your county attorney and if I was ever lucky enough to be honored to wear a black robe.
I have a question for the commission candidates. Strother Field Commission is represented by 3 Winfield commissioners, 3 Arc City commissioners, and 1 county commissioner now who is on the board who can vote but is not eligible to break a tie. Should the county seek a larger role in the governance of Strother Field? John?
I heard you.
I'm sure.
I'm trying to use up some of my time here.
Fair enough. You can drink water. You can tear your name tag up a little bit more.
I really don't know. The only reason I could see maybe a different or a larger role for county commission is because you have Winfield and Arc City represented, and that's not the county. We represent other people besides Winfield and Arc City. So if you have county funding involved, you have to keep in mind you'd all extra other people. So that's just a quick thought I had. But I really don't have strong feelings either way. I like the idea that there's cooperation and more than one entity involved.
Carol?
I guess I have pretty much the same opinion. There ought to be some representation of all the taxpayers that are contributing to whatever funding goes there, and should have a representative off the commission to at least sit in and know what's going on.
Alan?
I think the representation from the county is important on the Strother Field Board, and I guess years before my terms that term in office here that they tried to get on the board and things, and Mr. Wilson, Dick had finally made that happen where one of us actually was able to sit on, and we rotate each year. One commissioner. This year's actually my term to sit on the Strother board, and I truly don't believe that right now the county needs much more representation, just as long as they have some there, and one of us takes turn if have another conflicting interest or something, we make a phone call and one of us tries to fill in for the other. So it's I believe in the representation of Strother Field by the County Commission, but I feel that one commissioner is enough.
Thank you. County Attorney question for Matt, or for Chris, excuse me, is under what circumstances should the county attorney use plea bargains or agreements to reduce charges? Are too many such deals being made, and especially what about for repeat offenders?
I'm glad that question came forward. This plea bargaining is one of those things that always ends up seeming to be misunderstood. My office files roughly 3,500 cases a year on average. Of those, about 1,000 of those cases do not qualify for a jury trial, meaning that they're a traffic offense in some areas or a Class C misdemeanor. Cowley County has one jury-capable courtroom. We have 2,500 cases a year that qualify for jury trials. If we were to seat a jury and try 2 cases a week, which would be a miracle in and of itself, that we would be able to try 104 cases. We would use up one judge completely. There would be nothing that judge could do other than just jury trials. 2,396 cases would have to be disposed of in some other manner. That's where plea bargaining comes into. My office, when we negotiate a plea bargain, we take into consideration the wishes of the victim, we take into consideration the concerns of law enforcement, and we take into consideration overall public safety and offender reformation. In short, we look at what would be a just resolution to that case. That's where plea bargaining comes in. That's where we use it. For repeat offenders, a lot of times, and we don't have the time to explain all of the sentencing guidelines up here, but a lot of times a plea bargain is going to get you exactly what the type of sentence that the judge was going to be mandated to give the person anyway.
Thank you. Matt?
Thank you. Little scratch. First, Mr. Allen said, Mr. Wilson. That's not me. That's him back there. That's the other, and we're not related, just so you know. What Chris said about plea bargain agreements, every office I've worked in, we call them plea bargain agreements here. In almost every other county in the state, it's called a plea agreement. And Chris is absolutely right. 9 times out of 10, that plea agreement hits just about where the judge is mandated by law to land. Without those plea agreements, we would ball up the court and we would spend all kinds of money unnecessarily. We'd end up with results that a jury 9 times out of 10 would end up at a result that agreement reaches. Without those agreements, the system, believe it or not, folks, would grind and almost come to a stop. It galls people to think that they're getting a bargain. But the reason we've got the word bargain in the plea bargain agreements over here is because we had a judge have a beef with the county attorney sometime in our past, and he insisted that all these plea agreements be titled plea bargain agreements. That's because that county attorney, when he was running, said, well, we'll never do a plea bargain agreement. And he made him eat those words every day he was in office. Thank you.
Question for our commission candidates. Cowley First is a countywide economic and community development agency supported financially by the county as well as the cities of Winfield and Arkansas City and a number of business entities. Are we getting our money's worth out of Cowley First? Start with Carol.
Could you repeat the last sentence of that?
Are we getting our money's worth? Do we think Cowley First is doing a job, doing a good job in the economic development in Cowley County with the money that they're worth the money that is being given to them by the government entities and the private businesses?
I don't know that I'm qualified to answer that because I guess I don't know how much money they're actually getting. I know some of the people that are involved in Cowley First. I think they're all dedicated, committed to trying to make us have a better economic situation in the county. So without knowing an exact budget, I'd probably have to say we're probably getting pretty good return out of the people. I don't know on a dollar for dollar amount whether it's a bargain or not, but I think they all work pretty hard to try to do the best job they can.
Alan?
I think Carrie Folletti, our Director of Economic Development, is doing a good job. There's always room for improvement. You know, you have a organization like that in a county, and you know, somebody always sees something different. You know, everybody has different views, and unfortunately, I may have a few different views. But you know, she pursues the big corporations, the Rubbermaid, K-Square, you know, Calmar, all these big corporations, which we need to do. But I feel we also need to focus, like I said earlier, on the smaller guy. And I know she doesn't do enough of that. I feel that they should, and I've hit her up about it, you know, but I feel that there's small entrepreneurship, small corporations and entities in this county. There's ways I know that economic development could help those people also. Not only the big corporations, but the smaller ones too.
Thank you. John?
Well, I think the only way to measure it is with some results we're in, and that's very hard to do. I mean, it'd be like the Chamber of Commerce, or did they help attract businesses, or it costs money to do those things, and so it's very hard to measure somebody's performance in economic development. I did notice. I was reading the Traveler and I suppose the Courier both had the sections on Cowley County, and I was reading the different businesses and stuff, and I'm not that familiar with it, but I kept hearing positive things about Cowley First and the work they were doing. So I haven't looked at it in detail, so I really don't have any way to say whether it's effective at this point or not. By the way, I mentioned that I was trying to pick up a couple of votes for Traveler and Courier. I don't know whether that was
For the County Attorney's Office, for Matt, should arrest affidavits be made public as they are in many other states?
That's a pretty good question for a legislator. And we don't make policy at the county attorney's office. We enforce it. Well, I'm sorry. They don't make policy at the county attorney's office. They enforce it. I don't know. You got anything to add to that?
That's an issue that it's a technical issue. For those who don't know, in order to get an arrest warrant signed by a judge, an officer takes a probable cause affidavit and gives that to a judge. A judge reads it, then makes an independent assessment as to whether or not there is probably a crime occurred and probably the person that they named in it committed the crime, and then they will then issue an arrest warrant. What this question is about, and I suppose it's either come from a citizen who would like to see one or members of the press who would like to have them. KCDAA, the Kansas County and District Attorneys Association, of which my office is a member and I am the chair of the elected section, we have talked about this issue on several different occasions. I agree with the position from KCDAA. I do not mean to offend the newspaper people in the room, but my answer is no. And the reason for that is it has always been in Kansas a sacred area where an officer can put information that is necessary for a judge to know, but may not necessarily be information that could be admissible at a trial, such as a person's prior criminal history, such as information about unfounded allegations that we're still trying to develop. So that's why I stand opposed to the release of arrest probable cause affidavits to the general public.
Okay. We have one final question that we're going to give to the commissioners. That's your signal to be preparing your comments for the final comments. And we'll start this one with John. In the tough economic environment that we're in, do you have any ideas that you could be able to bring to the commission that would increase county efficiency and attract and maintain quality county employees?
Well, again, responding to these is almost like thinking out loud, but which is kind of scary with me. The thing that comes to mind is that I've seen be very effective is networking, and that can be. We just mentioned different agencies, economic development people. What's the say we're doing well in an area? What's the most successful county in Cowley County? What are they doing? Or Oklahoma, different areas. I've just found that networking can be a very powerful source of ideas. And I will mention, too, that we were mentioning economic development, and the thought came to my mind of Skyline, which is been around for years in various forms, and I believe Jack Kelly and Albert Clementi traveled and personally recruited that industry. That was private citizens doing that. So all kinds of people can pursue that. We need to realize that our people are our greatest resources and use them in every way we can.
Alan?
Repeat that again, Greg.
Sure.
I need to get the end of it.
In the tough economic environment that we're in, what ideas would you bring to the commission to increase county efficiency and attract and maintain quality county employees?
Keep track of the employees? What you mean?
To attract/maintain quality people.
I believe the key personnel, and we've been unfortunate, the last few years that we've had a wage freeze on the employees, and it's taken its toll. And we're hopeful that this year's budget will provide a nice source of cost of living raise, and hopefully one of these days the merit raises for the people that deserve it. And as far as efficient county government, the three commissioners, we formed a little over a year ago the Citizens Efficiency Task Force. Brought in, each commissioner gave 3 individuals that were willing to serve in this deal, and we met a couple times a month at start, and they dissected the county in all different ways. And I believe that through that, they found that this county government's ran pretty slim. And I feel that we've done an excellent job, and hopefully can continue that.
Thank you. Carol?
I think whether it's county government, private business, large business, main thing you need to do is recognize and reward the people that are doing a good job, maybe reprimand and offer encouragement or guidance to the ones that aren't. As far as tough economic times, I think we probably need to look at maybe spending the taxpayers' money like we would our own, and being fiscally responsible, and be willing to step up and accept the feedback if you make the decisions that aren't popular as far as how you budget the money. It's a big responsibility. There's always going to be times that people aren't going to be happy, but if you are willing to back up your decisions, most of the time people will understand, and budget the money as wisely as you can, and take care of the people that are doing a good job, and maybe think of alternatives for the ones that aren't, whether it's encouragement or termination. I mean, sometimes you got to cut the dead weight. It's a tough decision, especially when there are people you know, but sometimes it's the only way to do it.
Thank you. At this time, we'll ask each of the candidates to have their closing remarks. We have asked them to limit their closing remarks to 1 minute. I'd like to thank the audience for their questions that they've been providing and everything, and thank everyone for coming here. And we'll start with Matt in the county attorney race and ask for his closing remarks.
Goodbye, all. I'd just like to say that I've had a 9-year career as an attorney. I've been privileged to serve this county in various aspects, and I deeply appreciate the opportunities that I've been given in the past, and I pray that you give me an opportunity to show you what I can do in the next 4 years. No attorney knows it all. Anybody who starts at the assumption that they know it all runs into an old defense saw, which is RTFS. Read the statute, fruit statute there. Anyway, you need to start. You should never assume you know what the law is, because it changes every year. Vote for me.
Thank you. Chris?
I have been privileged to be your county attorney for the last 8 years, and I would certainly look forward to being your county attorney for the next 4 years. My family and I have dedicated ourselves to this job. We, and I say a family dedication because it's a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week, 365-day-a-year job. It does not stop when the office closes. It continues because crime doesn't only work between 8 and 5. I have been fortunate to have met some wonderful people and worked with some wonderful people as county attorney. I continue to look forward to establishing and working on those relationships, and I continue to look forward to serving as your county attorney. I would appreciate your support in this election. I have signs in the back, and there are cards as well. I would appreciate your vote come the 7th of August, and again, I look forward to 4 more years.
Thank you. Move to the County Commission candidates, and we'll start with Alan.
Thank everyone. I want to thank everyone for their support in the last 3.5 years, almost 4 years, and it's been an eye-opening experience for me to sit in an office that I really honestly had no idea what it entailed, and got to meet some wonderful people and serve underneath some wonderful people, and it's quite an experience. I feel that my background and my experience so far has spoken for itself, and I would hope and pray that the citizens of the county would look upon that and make the right choice for the steward of their money, which is a county commissioner is. And I believe I've done a good job, and I would greatly appreciate your continued support. Thank you.
Carol?
I happened to have a chance to look at the proposed budget in the newspaper tonight, the Cowley Winfield Courier. See some things that are encouraging in there. I noticed one thing is increase for law enforcement. I know they're spread pretty thin. A couple of experiences I've had, they were off on the other end of the county and they're not always available. So I think that's one of the things we need to look at is increasing law enforcement. Of course, always lowering the tax mills is a good thing, and I just would appreciate your support, and I would try to do the best job I can and spend your tax dollars as wisely as I can. Thank you.
John?
Well, first of all, I want to thank everybody for being here, and I hope we didn't bore you to death. It's great that you take an interest in this, but if you look around, you are a small minority of the citizens of Cowley County and even the people that are going to vote for these offices. That being said, and I understand that the average citizen doesn't have the time or interest to delve in this stuff full time. And that's why I plan to work at this full time and be proactive in following a process that is determining who the issues affect and trying to get their input. And hopefully that process will lead to better government. Thank you.
Candidates, I would like to thank you very much for your being here and your comments, and would like to thank the Traveler and the Cedarville paper, as well as the Winfield Courier, for sponsoring the event, and thank everyone for coming. David, take over.
And how about a big thank you to Greg Thompson for moderating a good forum. It's not an easy job to keep all that together and get all the names straight. So thank you guys very much for participating. I think it was very informing. And